Hi everyone. Sorry I am not there today, but I am going to walk you through the lesson just like I would if I were there. So the very first thing that you need to do is pause this video and open up your story if it's not already pulled up. So remember to do that, go to Shared with Me, click on the folder with your name on it, and then open up your Google Drive story. Okay, so once you get that open, we're going to talk about two different things today. This first video is going to be all about how we format stories, papers, essays in this class. We already started talking about some of these functions with Google Drive, but we're going to put it all together today to make sure that your story is formatted the way that it needs to be. I actually want to backtrack for a second. While you're getting your story pulled up, I want to go over my rubric with you all and show you how I'm grading this story. Okay, so this is going to be a 10-point project. And these are what I'm going to be looking for. I'm going to be looking for your header or your name. Okay, I'm going to be looking at your title and the way that that's formatted. I will be looking for capitalization throughout your story to make sure there's no problems with that, as well as punctuation and the appearance, which follows everything we're going to go through today. So if you have any questions about this, you can let me know. When I'm in person tomorrow, I will share more of this rubric with you. But those are the 5 things I'm looking for. So today, we're going to go through and we're going to turn your stories into this, or whatever your stories look like, into this. This is going to be our final product after this video. So the first thing that we need to talk about is the actual text of our story. Okay, so all of yours might be different. You might have different fonts, sizes, colors. We want them to all be the same. This makes it fair when we look at the length of a story. Somebody who types as large as my example is right now is obviously going to reach one full page longer than somebody who's in a smaller font. So what I need you to do is highlight all of this. You can either do that by clicking and dragging your cursor, or you can do a keyboard shortcut by holding down the Control key and then clicking A. Okay, so pause this video if you need a second to get this highlighted. Once you have it highlighted, we're going to change a few things. First, we're always going to type in the font Times New Roman. So you need to go up to the arrow where it says font, and then we're going to scroll down. All of yours should have Times New Roman in it. Okay, so Times New Roman. When you click on that, you'll see your font change. Okay, this is a standard font for most papers in school. You'll probably always write your papers in Times New Roman when you go to high school and even in 8th grade next year. Okay. The second thing that we need to do is change the size of our font. So everything needs to be typed in size 12. So you can click this minus sign all the way down to 12, or you can highlight in here and you can type in whatever you want. Okay, so go ahead and change the size to 12. So at this point, we now have Times New Roman as our font and 12 as our font size. And like I said, pause this video at any time if you need to. The third thing we want to do, and some of you may have already done this, is change our line spacing. Okay, so that is exactly what it sounds like. Line spacing is the space between each line of text, okay, or each line of words. The way that mine's written right now is called single spacing. It's very tight. All the words are close together. We're going to change this to double spacing, which gives us twice as much space between each line. That makes it really helpful for editing, even for reading and staying on track with the right line. And it makes your paper look really crisp and nice and neat. So to do this, highlight your text just like we did before. Then when you go to the toolbar, you're going to search for this button called line spacing. It has 3 lines, and then it has an arrow on the left side pointing up and down. When you click on that, you'll see all of these options up top, and we want double. Okay, so highlight it, click on double, and you'll see the length of your story has just changed. Okay, so when I go and look at my rubric, okay, we use Times New Roman, double spaced, size 12 font. Now my story is in Times New Roman, it's size 12, and we have double line spacing. So that's how your story should look. Okay. The next thing that we need to do is go ahead and worry about how we format our paragraphs. Okay. Your paragraphs should start indented, which means the first line is going to have a few extra spaces in it. The way you do that is by clicking before your first word and then clicking the tab button. So it's in the upper left corner. So pause this video, find the tab button, and then make an indent in your first line. Once you have that, here's what we're going to do. We need to add in a title and a heading. So I want you to click the enter button on your keyboard, okay, and then click back up in that extra space. We're going to go ahead and type your name for the first line. Okay, so for me, it's Miss Smith. And I'm actually going to backspace here to make sure it's all the way aligned to the left. So you want Miss Smith, then you want the date. So today is 1-11-2021. Okay. Or you could type it out. So let me do this instead. January 11th, 2021. Then hit enter. You'll write the class that you're in. So this is creative writing. And then the last thing you're going to do is put your teacher's name. Okay, so my name is Miss Smith. So your heading on every single paper for this class, it's going to be in the left-hand corner. You're going to put your name, the date, the class you are in, and then your teacher's name. So go ahead and pause the video and put that in your paper if you haven't done that yet. Okay. So then the last thing that we're going to need is to add a title. Okay, so go ahead and hit enter. And this is where you can put any type of title you want. You're going to name your story. Okay, so I'm going to call this, let's say, The Year I Didn't Eat Meat, because my story is all about a character who goes vegetarian for a year. So go ahead, pause this, get your title put in. And then when you come back, we need to move our title to the center of the page. Okay, so our alignment, so far everything is aligned on the left. And this is something we're going to talk about in this class. Okay, so everything is on the left-hand side. It matches up really nicely. However, sometimes we're going to want something center aligned. Here's how we do that. Go ahead and highlight your font, your text, your words. Then we're going to go up to our toolbar, and this tool has quite a few lines that are all on the left, and when you hover over it, it says align. When you click down on it, the second option shows all these lines in the center, and if you hover, it'll tell you it's center aligned. That's how you know it's right. So when I click on this button, okay, it's going to move my words to the very center. So if you need to see that again, highlight your title, come up to this alignment tool, okay, and then click the one for center. I have an extra space here. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that. It just happened while I was in the process of doing my heading. Okay, so now if I look at my paper, I have a heading with 4 lines. Okay, I have my name, the date, the class I'm in, and my teacher's name. Then I have a title. It is in the center of my paper. Okay, I have my story. It's double spaced and it has an indentation in it. It's Times New Roman font. It's 12 spaces. The last thing that we need to do is start breaking up our story into paragraphs. if you've already done this, that's wonderful. However, some of you might have an entire story that's written in one long paragraph with no breaks. If that's the case, we need to break up our writing. Okay? Paragraphs are traditionally a minimum of 3 to 5 sentences. They can absolutely be longer than that. However, at some point, your ideas start to run together and you want to break them up for your reader. So typically, anytime you are going to change kind of the subject you're talking about, or you start a new idea, you're going to start on a new paragraph. So I'm going to read through my story. It says, it all started on January 1st, 2020. I decided for the first time ever, I was not going to eat any meat. It was going really well for a few days, and then I wanted chicken nuggets. And when I say I wanted chicken nuggets, I really, really wanted them. Here's how I made it through all 365 days without eating meat. I used self-control. I purchased a few cookbooks that only contained vegetarian meals. It was definitely not easy at first, and there were so many times that I wanted to quit. But now that I made it through the entire year, I am so glad I stuck with it. Okay. In this one paragraph, we have two ideas going on, right? The beginning is just explaining what the resolution was and a little bit of what we struggled with. But then this new idea comes into play that explains how my character managed to get through the year and follow their resolution. So that's where we want to break it off into a different paragraph. So I'm going to click my cursor right in front of this word here, because it says, here's how I made it through without eating meat. And to start a new paragraph, all you have to do is click the enter button on your keyboard. So when I click enter, it starts a new paragraph. And now my story is more broken up, and it's not just one long paragraph. So the next thing that you need to do is go ahead and read through your story. And whenever there's a natural idea change, or someone speaks, or you sort of change the topic, you want to make a new paragraph. If you're not quite sure where that point is, after 5, 6, 7 sentences, go ahead and create a new paragraph. One of the things I am grading you on, okay, is that you have multiple paragraphs and it's not just one long page. So that is how we format our stories. So if I look at here, the beginning now matches the end, how it looked. If there's anything that you are confused on, just rewind this video, go back, look at what I did again, and I will be in person tomorrow to help you. But this is the basic structure that you all need to have in order to turn in your essays.